Hi my lovelies, welcome to the channel. So today is that time of the month, and it is my favorite time of the month if I'm honest, and it is wrap up season. And this is my favorite time because I just love hearing what other people have read, and then I also just love getting to talk about the books that I've read and that I loved. So I hope you're as excited as I am because I've got the stats here again this month. So thank you again, Storygraph. So for July we read 10 books. All 10 were romance. Literally, who is surprised? Nobody, exactly. 2 of them were fantasy, 4 of them were dark. Again, who is surprised? 1 of them was an LGBTQ book. My average rating was 4.05, which I feel like is pretty good. Last month, my average rating was 3.75, so way better. The longest book I read was 427 pages, and the shortest book that I read was 207 pages. I read 4 new to me authors. I DNF'd 2 books and I reread 3 books. So all in all, I feel like it was a pretty successful month. If you watched my July TBR, it was not successful on that front, let me tell you, because out of my 17 book TBR, I read 5 of them. So not great, that's for sure. So let's just get right into it, shall we? The first book that I read in July was Ever the Same by Stephanie Blaze, and I rated this one a 3.75. I really enjoyed it, but it definitely wasn't perfect. I will say I had a really good time with this, but immediately, honestly probably the second that I finished this, I went to go write my review for it. I wrote it on a sticky note as soon as I finished it because my memory is so bad that if I don't write my review immediately after I finish it, I will forget everything that I thought about it. And I finished the book, read the last page, went to go write my review, and I had 0 thoughts about this. It's not a book. I had a really good time with it. I thought it was really good, but it's not a book that's going to stick with me, and it didn't super impact me emotionally. And then also, one thing that I did struggle with a little bit with this was the characters' ages. It's past and present perspective, which I loved, but the characters' ages weren't there for the whole book. So for some chapters, whenever there would be a time jump, they would put the characters' ages in the chapters, but they wouldn't do that for a while, and then they would jump again and not put the ages. So I had no idea how old anybody was for a majority of the book. I had no idea if I was reading about adults or if I was still reading about teens, so that kind of sucked. Sorry, I had to tie my hair back. I'm back now. So this one follows Callan and Colby, and they meet when they're kids, and Callan, his brother, is in the hospital. He's very sick. I think he has cancer, I want to say, so trigger warning for that. And then Colby, her mom, is in the hospital giving birth. So they meet, and Callan is very closed off to everybody. He doesn't like anybody. He's shutting out the world, basically, because he loves his brother, and his brother's very sick. But Colby comes in, and she's all sunshine. She offers him her rabbit to make him feel better and wants to be his friend and just be there for him. And he's not really ever had that before, so she somehow manages to worm her way in to his life, and they become best friends. I put my hair up, and then I'm taking it down. It's driving me nuts. I can't find the happy medium. So they become really good friends, and we see them from the time that they're first meeting, which I think they're either 6, 7, or 8, something like that. He's a year older than her. So we see that, and then we see them as they get a little bit older, early teens, late teens, graduating, college, that kind of thing. And through those years, we see crushes beginning to develop, feelings that start to emerge, and then we also see the lines between friendship and romance beginning to blur, and then something finally happens between them, and then Callan pulls away completely. He just disappears, and Colby doesn't know why. She has no idea, and they don't see each other for years. And then one day they see each other again in college, and Callan realizes that he really screwed up losing Colby. She was a very important person in his life, and he wants her back. But Colby is really heartbroken from the last time that they were together, so she is treading very carefully because she doesn't want to get her heart broken again, and the feelings for him never really went away. So this one was really good. I will say though, I just didn't feel anything for this really, I don't think. But I will say, I think his mental health was done pretty well. He was struggling with some stuff. I would check the trigger warnings for this. I don't want to say what he's struggling with because it would spoil a pretty big chunk of the book. So I would check your triggers if you have them. But yeah, the thing with this book for me is that it was really good and I had a really good time reading it, but I never got to the point where I was really caring about anything that was going on. And then also it completely left my mind the second I finished it. So I would really recommend this. I think it was probably right book, wrong time. I think I was getting into a bit of a slump because I had been putting so much on my plate reading wise. And so pretty much anything that I read just didn't really hit. I think it was just right book, wrong time. So I would definitely recommend this, especially if you like childhood friends to lovers. It was very good, so I would recommend it. The next one, I'm very excited about this one. I really, really liked this book, and that is My Dark Fairy Tale by Gianna Darling. And this one, I rated a 4.5. I loved this one. I loved it. I had such a good time with this. It made me happy again. Like I said, with Ever the Same, I was feeling a little slumpy, and then I picked this up, and the slump was gone. The slump was gone. This was everything. This was so good. So this one basically follows Guinevere and, what is his name? Guinevere and Raphael. Those are the names. And Guinevere, she has some kind of sickness that maybe has had her almost die a couple of times, and she decides, you know what, I'm going to reclaim my life. Screw the sickness, I'm gonna go travel to Italy. Because her family is Italian, but her father is like, no, you can never go back to Italy. Bad things happened, you're not allowed to go back there. So she decides, screw it, I'm gonna go to Italy. So she lies to her family, says that she's going to Paris, and then she goes to Italy. And when she's in Italy, something happens. She's running away from something. She runs into the middle of the road, and Raphael hits her with his car. I'm smiling when I say this. Obviously, it's not good. She gets hit by a car, and he is this big, scary mafia don. He's the capo de capi. De capi? I don't know what that means, but he is he's a very scary guy. He kills people. He has a dead body in his trunk when he hits her with the car, and he sees her and he's like, there's something about you. I can't shake it. I don't know what it is, but there's something about you that makes me just want to take care of you. And so he's like, you know what? I feel really bad, so come back to my house, I'll take care of you, I'll help you recover, and I'll pay for the hospital and things like that. So after that, she goes and she stays in his place, and they start to hit it off really, really well, and he takes care of her while she's recovering. And while he's doing that, he starts to feel things, and because he has been so closed off to everything for so long, because he's in the mafia, he needs to have no emotions, basically. He starts to feel things again, and he considers himself to be kind of like a machine. He has shut himself down, and he's basically only metal. But with her, he starts to become a man again, and he starts to feel things, and he starts to want to be the person that he was before he became this mafia man. And it was so good. It was so good. I loved this book. I loved it. I loved it so much. Basically, with this one, I just loved who they became together, especially Raphael. He just became so soft for her. It was everything. The only thing that I didn't love was the ending, and I also don't love the fact that I didn't know that this was a duology that isn't finished until I picked this up. And the next one doesn't come out until the end of this year or early next year, I think. So don't pick this up right now. Obviously read it, but I would wait until the next one comes out if I were you. But yeah, aside from the fact that I didn't love the ending, it wasn't my favorite, this was just so good. It was so good. I swooned so hard. I just loved how they loved each other in this. It was so, so good. And it was very steamy. That's all I gotta say about that. It was very good. Highly recommend this one. It was so good. I just had so much fun with this. There was so much joy. I love a good mafia romance, and this delivered. It was my first Gianna Darling, and I was highly impressed. So, highly recommend Gianna Darling. Highly recommend this book. Also got it signed. So, she was lovely, by the way. So that's incentive enough as it is. She is a very wonderful person. So just really good book. Highly recommend. I cannot wait to talk about this. I'm going to talk about the next two together because I have them in an omnibus. And also because it's a duology, I'm not going to spoil anything about the second book, obviously. But this one is The Dracula Duet by Karina Halley. So this one is Blood Orange and Black Rose. And this one, so good. I got this one signed by her. I'm just going to show off this edition really quick. I got some art here. and I got some art here. So there you go. If you need an incentive to read this, the MMC and the FMC are both hot. So look at this. So basically, I loved this. I rated Blood Orange, which is book 1, I rated a 4.75. It was pretty much perfect. It just didn't give me the 5-star feeling. I'm gonna tell you more, obviously. And then I rated Black Rose 3.75. So this one basically follows Valtu. This one follows Valtu and Dahlia, I want to say. Valtu is a vampire, and he's the one who inspired Dracula, so hence the Dracula duet. And he has been living for centuries, and over the years, he has fallen in love with the same woman over and over again. And the first time they got together, she died. The second time, she died. And she just keeps getting reincarnated as his one true love in different bodies. And so he isn't really expecting to see her again, but enter Dahlia, and she is a witch, and she is being tasked to hunt and kill Valtu, but neither of them know that she is actually his reincarnated love. Are you kidding? She's sent to murder him, but they're destined to be together? Are you joking? It was so good. It was so good. The chemistry between them was absolutely phenomenal. I don't even get me started on the chemistry. It's student teacher, by the way. This was my first Karina Halle book. It will not be my last. Don't read this in public, basically. That's all I gotta say about that. But I loved this. I don't have any complaints about it. I had the best time with it. Hold on, I'm gonna braid my hair really quick because it is driving me nuts. I gotta get it out of my face. Actually, you know what? Let me talk to you while I finish this up. So the chemistry in this was, honestly, I wrote in my review, this was probably one of the hottest things I've ever read, and I stand by that. I can't put it into words, just read it. Obviously, trigger warning for spice. It's very spicy. So if that's something you're interested in, you will love this. But it was phenomenal. Their chemistry was so well done. And also, I just loved both the characters. I loved Valtu especially. My heart just broke for him because he has found the love of his life so many times throughout his lifetime, and every single time he's lost her, and it's just so heartbreaking. And then you also see Dahlia, and she's so conflicted because she knows what she's supposed to do, she knows what she's been taught, and then you see her and she's found her match where she's never fit in anywhere in her life before. She's always felt like an outsider. She's never found anybody that she felt close to, and then she meets Valtu, and immediately she feels that closeness and she feels that connection that she's been longing for her entire life. But then she's so conflicted because he's Dracula and she's a witch. She was sent there to kill him, but she feels this connection like she's never felt with anybody else before, and it was just so good. I loved this so much. It made me cry at work while I was reading it. This was so good. The ending blew my mind. I loved it. I mean, I didn't love it, but I was just so shocked. I sat in my chair and I was just staring at the wall for probably a good 10 minutes. Just like, what did I just read? I loved it. It was so great. It just didn't give me the 5-star feeling. I was about to rate it 5 stars, and then I was like, you know what? That doesn't feel right. So 4.75. And then with Black Rose, I rated that a 3.75. I really liked it, but it didn't hit me as hard as the first one. I don't really know why. At the beginning, I was locked in. We picked up right after book 1 left off, which I loved. I just fell right back into it, and I was having the best time with it. I just stopped caring a little bit. I don't really know why, but I had a great time with it. It was still really good, but it just didn't hook me as much as book 1 did. And then good things happened towards the end, things that we've been looking forward to for the whole book and for the whole duology, honestly. And then I was kind of just like, okay, that's great, but it didn't really hit me, and I didn't cry with relief or anything. It was just kind of like, okay, but it was really good. And this is definitely a duology that I'm going to reread because I loved this. I loved it so much. Just please read this. Hi, I'm fixing my braids. Sorry if the camera angle is different now. My camera fell. It was a nightmare to get back up. So I hope that the angle isn't too different. But the next book I read this month was Match by Becca Steele. I was really excited for this one. I heard the synopsis. It sounded amazing. I was so excited, but I hate to say that it let me down a little bit. and I was really bummed about how I felt about this. So basically this one follows Charlie and Nate, and they both sign up for this dating app that their school has. For Nate, I think his friend is the one who made the app, so he's signing up to test it out, see how it works, see how things go, that kind of thing. And he's matched with this person. They agree to meet up at a bar, and then in comes Charlie. And both Nate and Charlie, they're both straight. They both put that they only wanted to meet women, but they got matched with each other. So they were like, you know what, according to the app, we're super compatible, so let's just hang out, see how it goes. Maybe we'll become friends. So they hang out, they hit it off really well, and they become friends. And then they both try to go out on another date, and they get matched again. So after that, Nate and Charlie, they start hanging out a little bit more. They become really close. They become really good friends. And then Nate says to Charlie, oh, this is my sister. She's single. You're single. And his sister really likes Charlie as well. But Charlie can't stop thinking about Nate. So when I heard that, I was like, are you kidding me? This sounds like the best thing that I'm ever going to read. I could not wait to pick this up. It was the book that I was most excited to read this month. And it just kind of let me down a little bit. Don't get me wrong. This wasn't a bad book. And it had a lot of really cute moments, but I don't know what exactly it was, but the writing, I think, just felt a little bit more clunky to me. If you've watched any of my other videos, especially recommendation videos, I have talked about a book called Sidelined, which I absolutely adored, and it was by Becca Steele. And so I went into this thinking, oh, it's a friends to lovers. I'm gonna get the Sidelined level yearning, and I'm gonna just love it and eat it up. But I just didn't. It felt different than Sideline did from what I can remember, but I don't know, it just felt a little bit clunky at times. Now I will say their relationship and their feelings progression, the mutual confusion that they were both feeling, it was really well done. I liked that a lot. I had a lot of fun with it, but this just didn't really make me feel anything, and I didn't feel super connected to this either. But again, it's not a bad book. I had a good time with it. I just didn't really feel anything, which kind of sucked. So moving on. Oh, the next book was top 2 for this month for sure. This and Blood Orange were my best books of the month by far, and this one is Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. I finally read it, and I'm so angry at myself for not reading it sooner because this was phenomenal. This was so good. Oh my god. I literally do not have a single bad thing to say about this. I had the best time with it. I rated it a 4.75. It was just amazing. Like Blood Orange, it was sitting at a 4.75 to a 5-star. I was this close, but it didn't feel right rating a 5-star. Don't know why. I think if I reread this, easy 5-star, because this was so good. It was so good. I loved it so much. So let's talk about it, right? So Out on a Limb, this one follows Win and Bo, and Win has a limb difference. So I don't know if you can see in the cover, but her hand is a little bit smaller than her other one, and I don't think she has fully formed fingers, if I'm not mistaken, and then Bo is obviously an amputee. So they meet, and they hit it off immediately at this party because they're both dressed as pirates, which is really cute. So she's dressed with a hook hand, and he's dressed with a peg leg, and they hit it off immediately, and they're both like, you know what? I really like you. Let's get out of here. Let's go do the damn thing. Neither of them are wanting a relationship. They're just wanting to blow off some steam. So they spend the night together, and then a couple weeks later, Win realizes that she's pregnant. And she's freaking out. She decides that she wants to keep the baby, but she doesn't know how Bo's gonna feel about it, but she knows she needs to tell him. So she tells him, and he's like, this is the best news I've ever heard. I want to be there. I need to be there. This is my child. I need to be a part of their life. And so they decide, Win especially decides this. She does not want to be in a relationship. She wants to do this as co-parent. She wants it to be almost like a business arrangement because she is very used to being independent. She doesn't want to depend on anybody else. So it's kind of just like visitation rights almost. You can see the baby, but I'm not relying on you at all, because she has had to prove to herself and other people that she can do just as much and more as somebody who doesn't have any limb differences. And so she is very used to holding on to that. She is not used to letting anybody in. But Bo is very persistent, and he is wonderful. And so they just kind of become friends, and through it all, they bond, they get closer, and Win starts to realize, oh, maybe it wouldn't be so bad letting Bo in. I loved this. I loved it so much. I also met her. I met all of these authors, which is so cool. But I'm showing off the ones that I just loved this book. It was so good. I don't have a single complaint about it. I do not have a single complaint about this. It is so good. Let's talk about the romance for a sec. Beau, top tier book boyfriend. This man is a book husband. He was everything. He was just everything. And Wynn, she was just wonderful. They both were really, really, I really, really liked them both. Same with the side characters. I just loved every single aspect of this book. It was so good. I don't have a single complaint about it. Sitting here right now, I probably should have rated it 5 stars. I'm not going to change my mind about it because something was holding me back. But this was so good. I don't think I've really said why it was good, but it was just everything. I just love the way that they loved each other, especially Beau. Do you want me to read you some quotes? Because I will. I'm going through my Goodreads highlights right now because I feel like I've just said, oh, this was just so good, you should read it. But I haven't really said why because I don't remember why. I just remember loving this. It was so good. So there's a part in this book where they're talking about the chances of the baby having the limb difference. And they were saying, oh, I don't think that they'd have it. And Beau says, I think I might be a bit disappointed. And she says, come on, you don't mean that. And he says, you're perfect, Wynn. Of course I'd want them to have every part of you. Are you kidding? Are you kidding? To be loved like that, could you imagine? This was just so cute. It was so cute because obviously they were both kind of thrust into this situation that neither of them necessarily wanted to be in initially. And then you just start to see them slowly get to the point where they're like, I wouldn't want to do this with anybody else. I am so grateful that this happened because it brought me you, and it also is giving us our babe. Like, so good. Please read it. I don't have anything else to say about it. I'm gonna stop. We'll be here all day. But it was so good. Please read it. It was so good. I loved it so much. Okay, next, I started my off-campus reread. I'm gonna show off my special edition of the deal really quick. This just came. And it's got art. Let me find it because I think that there's a few in here. So let's talk about this while I go through it. So I have read The Deal. I've read The Deal, I think 4 times. This was the first book that I ever read as a reader. Before, I was just picking things up, but this is the book that started me off. Before, it was just a lot of Wattpad. It was just a lot of fan fiction, and then I was reading fake dating stuff, and I was like, this is the best thing since sliced bread. I need a book with fake dating. Enter The Deal. And I just loved this. I just loved this so much. Hold on, let me try not to get the glare. There we are. So I rated it 5 stars, I think the first 2 times I read it. And then the 3rd time I read it, granted, I was in a horrible headspace the 3rd time I read it, so I can blame it on that. But I only rated it a 4.75 or a 4.5, something like that. And then, where is it? I know that there's another artwork in here somewhere. Here it is. So I rated this a 4.75, and then this time around, I rated it a 4.25. So I still love this book. Don't get me wrong. Let's talk about it, and then I'll get into my thoughts. So this one follows Garrett and Hannah, and Garrett is a hockey player, and he loves hockey. He loves it. He adores it. It's his whole life. And he bombs an exam, which Hannah aces, and she's one of the only people in the class that got a good grade on this exam. And so he starts coming up to her, and he's like, hey, I'm Garrett Graham. You know who I am, obviously. I'm on the hockey team. Obviously, you know me. I need you to tutor me. I'll give you money. I'll go on a date with you. And she's like, no, sorry, don't have time. Go somewhere else, actually, thanks. And he's like, oh, what do I do now? Because my charm, my hockey playerness didn't work. And then he starts observing her, and he's like, okay, what do you want from me? What can I do? Because I need a tutor, and you're the only one that can do it. And she tells him, no, I'm too busy. I literally do not have the time to tutor you. I cannot do it. There is nothing that I want from you. I can't do it. I'm sorry. You need to find someone else. He's like, I'll find something. He doesn't give up. And he later notices that Hannah has a bit of a crush on this guy, Justin, who is on the football team. So Garrett tells her, look, if you tutor me, I'll fake date you so that Justin will notice you. Because he only dates popular girls, and sorry, but you're not. So you need me to get his attention. And so they fake date. It's really good. Garrett Graham has been around for 10 years now, and he has been very well loved that whole time. I am a Garrett girly. I love Garrett. He is so wonderful. But this time around, it didn't really hit me. There were some parts where in the past I had loved them to the point where maybe I would have cried, like a happy cry. Didn't happen this time. I don't think I really felt anything while I read this, and I don't think I really got invested at all. But the first time I read it, I rated it 5 stars, so maybe it's just that I've reread this book too many times at this point. That is entirely possible. That might be the case, honestly. So I think that this is one that I won't reread again just because I don't want to tarnish my memory of it anymore. But I love this book. This book has a really big soft spot for me, and I will never stop recommending it because there's just so much to love about this book, and I want everybody to read this. It's so good. But this one, check your trigger warnings. Honestly, check your triggers with all of these. I think the only one that you're safe to not check your triggers with is Matched. So I would check your triggers with this as well. Hannah has a bit of trauma, so I would check your triggers there. But I love this book very much. I would highly recommend it. It just didn't hit me as hard as I wanted it to this time, which really sucks. But I have a lot of fun with this book. I love the friendship dynamics. I especially really liked Hannah and Allie in this, and I also just love the dynamic with the boys. But yeah, I do have a lot of love for this book and this couple, so please read it. Even though this reread didn't go as well as I wanted it to, this is a book that I will love forever, and I will cherish it because it helped form me as the reader that I am now. So I love this book very much, and if you're starting off with romance, this is one I would highly recommend. The next one is The Mistake. Here, I'll give you a little backstory with this one. When I first read it, I rated it a 5 star, and it very easily trumped the deal for me. I loved this book. It was my favorite in the series, for sure. Granted, I've only read 3 books in the series, but this was the winner. I loved this book. So I was expecting to go into this and love it again, but I didn't. It went from a 5 to a 3.5, which really sucks. So let's talk about it. So The Mistake follows Logan and Grace, and when we meet Logan, he is Garrett's best friend, and he is in love with Hannah from book 1. So he's in love with his best friend's girlfriend. So he's getting around a little bit, trying to forget Hannah, and he decides to go to a party one night, and he goes to the wrong room, and he meets Grace. And Grace is a freshman. She doesn't have any experience, which is one of my favorite tropes. He is like, hey, can I use your phone to call a cab? There's no cabs available. So he's like, hey, I see you're watching Die Hard. Do you mind if I watch it with you? And she's like, of course, go ahead. They watch the movie. Things happen. He leaves. And then he's like, you know what? I had a really good time with her. Let me go back and see her. Things happen again. They spend more time together. And then Logan does something that greatly changes the way that Grace looks at him. And she cuts him off completely. She blocks him. She goes away to Paris for the summer. And that's that. Done. And then immediately after getting cut off from Grace, Logan realizes how badly he screwed up. He made a mistake, and he tries to find a way to fix it, but he can't because she's across the world. There's nothing he can do. And so when she comes back, he starts groveling, and she is like, you know what, I'll make you a list. You're trying really hard to get back in my good graces, so if you complete everything off this list, I'll go on a date with you. I loved this the first time I read it. It was my favorite. It made me cry. I just struggled with it this time. I don't know what it was. I do love this book still. I loved it the first time I read it, but not this time. This book didn't hook me at all while I was reading it. I had fun, but I think the things that I enjoyed the most were the friendship dynamics in this. I loved seeing Logan with the boys. I enjoyed that a lot, and I think that that was the highlight of the book for me. And in all honesty, when I started feeling things and when I started getting invested in the couple, it didn't happen until about 90% of the way through the book. 90%. That's how long it took me to get attached and to care and to get invested. 90% of the book. A book that was 5 stars didn't hook me until 90%. You know how heartbreaking that is? Do you know how sad I was when I finished this? Because do you know what? I'll tell you this. The only thing that I felt when I finished this was relief. Do you know how devastating that is? It broke my heart. It made me so sad. But I will say there were things that I liked about this book. I liked their banter a lot. I felt very similar to Grace. I liked the way that their relationship flowed. I just didn't love anything, and I didn't care about anything. And it breaks my heart to say that, because this was my favorite, and now it's just okay. And I'm very sad. That's honestly all that I felt. I was relieved that it was done, and I felt sad. But I would still recommend this because who knows, maybe you'll read it for the first time and you will love it, just like me. and I wish I was there again. But anyway, the mistake, it was a 3.5, which breaks my heart, but I would still recommend it because I did love it at one point and it was my favorite for a long time. So I would recommend this. I would check it out. The next one is the score. This one I was so surprised by because I'll give you a little backstory. So when I read this for the first time, I was dealing with something that happens in this book and being very sensitive to it, having been dealing with it at the time that I read this book, I was very upset and very angry. So I wrote like a rage review. I don't like how so-and-so handled this. It's ridiculous. Ugh. Granted, I was also a lot younger when I read this. And again, I was dealing with something. So I rated it a 1.5, but this time I rated it a 4-star. A little bit of a switch up. So this one follows Dean and Allie, and Dean is a man whore. Simple as that. He gets around, and everybody knows it. So Allie has been in a relationship pretty much her whole life. She's been with different partners, but she's never really been single. She is very monogamous, and she breaks up with her boyfriend, and she decides, you know what? I need to rebound because I've been with this guy for so long. I've never been by myself, and I've also never done anything casual. Everything that I've done has always been really serious, and I need to just let loose, and I need to have a little bit of fun. And also my ex is kind of stalking me a little bit, so I need to get away. So she asks Hannah, who is her best friend, and Garrett's girlfriend, if she can stay at Garrett's house while Hannah and Garrett are away. And in Garrett's house lives Dean. And Dean loves to flirt with everybody, and they both get drunk, and they have a one-night stand. And Allie is like, oh no, I'm another notch on the bedpost. And she is very ashamed with herself, and she is very disappointed that she let herself be seduced by Dean. But Dean is like, that's the best hookup I've ever had with anybody. We need to do that again. She was like, no. You love a one-night stand. Why? You don't want to see me again. And I also don't want to see you again. You're not a relationship guy. You're the one-night stand guy. So, no, we're not seeing each other again. And he's like begging her. He's like, please, we need to see each other again. I can't eat. I can't sleep. So he's desperate. And so they have a little secret fling. And it was so fun. I just had the best time with this. Dean, I think I might be a Dean girl now. I just love Dean. He was, to be frank, he was really hot. And also, I loved seeing him coach the kids. It was so cute. I just loved seeing him find himself, find out who he was, who he wanted to be. I loved that. It was so great. He was so soft with Allie as well. This was just so good. It was so fun. And you know what? I will talk about why I rated this low. So I'm going to put a spoiler warning here. Obviously, this book has been out for a long time, but I do want to mention this because I feel like it is important. So skip to this timestamps if you don't want to hear what I'm about to say, or if you haven't read the book, because it is a spoiler for this and for the goal. I think it's mentioned in the goal as well. So skip, please. I don't want to spoil this for you. So when Beau dies, I had been dealing with grief myself. I know that grief is not linear. It's a circle. You fluctuate a lot, and you go around and around, and it's also like a roller coaster. You know, you go up and down. So when I read this, I was dealing with grief myself. And I had also been pressured by somebody like Dean to deal with my grief quicker than I was ready for it. And so seeing, even though reading this now, having processed all my grief, what Allie is saying is good. She needed to say that. But when I read this, I was still very sensitive to that issue. And so I rated it really lowly because I didn't like Allie saying, you need to get your shit together. Even though he needed to, I just it sent me from 0 to 100. I just couldn't deal with it. I was like, no, you cannot force anybody to deal with their grief if they're not ready. And so reading this now, I was like, Sydney, it needed to be said. He was a mess. But young Sydney was struggling. So we're better now. This was a very pleasant surprise. And honestly, when I was doing this reread, I thought for sure, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to skip the score because I don't want to read this. I was trying and failing to film a reading vlog for this. If I'm filming a full series reading vlog, I can't skip the score. So I picked it up and I'm extremely happy I did because I had the best time with this. And I honestly think out of all of the books in the series so far that I've read, this is the one that I would revisit the soonest because it was just so much fun. I loved seeing Dean just discover himself. I just love Dean. I'm a Dean girl now. I hate to admit it, but I am. That's where I'm at right now. So the score. I just had the best time with this. I would highly recommend it. We are on to the last one, finally. It is, oh my god, it's almost 1 a.m. Oh, thank god. It's only almost midnight. I have to be up at 5:30 tomorrow. So anyway, the last book. This is interesting. I don't have a physical copy of this one, but this is Little Stranger by Lee Rivers. If you've read this book, it's a wild ride. This one is crazy. So this one I rated a 3.75. This one follows Malachi and Olivia and their foster siblings. And this is not one where they meet when they're teenagers or anything. They meet when they're kids. And they are raised to believe that they're siblings. And they are very, very close. Extremely close. And Malachi decides immediately, the day that he meets her, he tells her in sign language, because he's mute, that she is his. He says, "You're mine" to her, even though he's like 8 years old. Maybe a little bit older, but he decides right then and there, "You're mine." That's it. So we see them grow up, we see their relationship, how it is, and then we also see something that happens that gets Malachi sent to jail. And Olivia is the one that gets him sent there. There's a bit of a time jump. Then we see Malachi, he's out of jail, and he is stalking Olivia, and he decides, "You're mine, I'm gonna get you any way that I can, because you betrayed me, but also because you're still mine." This one, I read it in one day, in one sitting, and this was just, I don't know if I said what I rated it. I rated it a 3.75 because it didn't make me feel anything, and I didn't care about the couple, but oh my god, I was so hooked reading this. I could not put it down. But this was so fun to read, which is crazy. I shouldn't say that it was fun to read. It was just wild. Some of the scenes that were in this book, it's just insane. So check your triggers, because this is, it's not for the faint of heart. I'll tell you that for free. It's something, that's for sure. So the best part of this book was that I could not put it down. I don't entirely know what to say about this, because I didn't feel... Okay, it definitely did have depth, but I didn't feel it. This is the same author that wrote Edge of Darkness, and while I did like this, I loved Edge of Darkness. And they didn't feel on the same playing field at all. And so when I went into this, I was anticipating that I was going to feel something along those lines, and I just didn't, which kind of sucked. But this hooked me. I was hooked. I could not put this down if I tried, because this was just wild. I can't talk about any of the wild stuff that happens in this book because I will get banned off of YouTube. It's that crazy. But check your triggers if you read this. If you're wanting a dark, spicy stalker romance that you're reading because you're kind of like, surely you can't go further than that, and then he does, I would recommend this. After I finished this, I had to tell pretty much every single person that I could about this book because it was something, that is for sure. This was a book and it was an interesting one. It was a lot of fun. I could not put it down, but it didn't make me feel anything. Actually, no, that's a lie. There was one scene that did make me feel. Stuff with Malachi made me feel. I liked him a lot. Olivia, I think I did like. And I liked when they were younger. I really liked their chapters before he went to prison. I liked those a lot. Some of them. I liked their soft moments, but I just didn't connect to it as much as I wanted to. Some people connect to it a lot more than I did, so I would highly recommend it because of that, because this, I feel like, is probably more well-known than Edge of Darkness, and a lot of people really love it. So I would definitely recommend it because, again, it's very well loved, but I just didn't love it as much as I wanted to, which kind of sucks. So that is everything that I read this month. Hold on. Let me pick this up so I have something to hold while I talk to you guys. Comment down below, what was your favorite book that you read in July? Or what was your favorite book that you've read so far this year? Because now that I'm free, I can read whatever I want. I am desperate for recommendations, so please hit me with them. But I would say all in all, this is a pretty good reading month for me. I felt a little bit slumpy and I didn't have any 5 stars, but I had 2 that were really close. So I would say this was a fairly successful reading month. I'm pretty happy with how it went. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for staying till the end if you have, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, my loves.